Go.
Controversy leaves no rock unturned, even the Washington Redskins football team. Should the Redskins mascot and logo be removed? Since 1933, the Washington Redskins professional football team has resided in the nation's capital, Washington, D.C. When the team moved from Boston, the owner, George Preston Marshall's plan was to market the team as playing Indian football. The idea was to hire Native American coaches and players to field the team to compete in the new league. Therefore, the term Redskins was going to represent the makeup of the team. However, over time, the term Redskins became associated with derogatory concepts. As early as the 1960s, Native American groups had questioned the use of Redskin. But the debate came to head in 2020. There was social and economic pressure placed on the NFL and ownership of the Washington team that ultimately removed the use of Redskins as a mascot. Although there remain many fans who do not see a problem wearing headdresses, banting chants during a professional football team, the damage has been done. The use of Redskin is a racial slur. Prior to the 1960s, Redskins was not perceived as a racial slur. The historical record, in fact, shows that before the 20th century, Native Americans frequently used the adjective red in reference to themselves, and that the term redskin may have originated as a literal translation of a Native American term used to differentiate Indians from other Americans. According to Gordon Hilton at Marquette University, however, in the late 1900s, the term became a disparaging term and offensive to Native Americans, hence the push to remove the Redskins from the Washington football team. My final will represent how the Washington Redskins pay heritage to not just their football team, but to Native American tribes across the country, and should keep the mascot. The Washington Redskins contribute to Native American tribes across the country. According to a Sports Illustrated article, Dan Snyder states, the Washington Redskins Original Americans Foundation, founded by the owner in 2014, is proof in the team's telling of its commitment to and support from Native American communities. The founding of this team, when it moved from Boston in the 1930s, was to pay homage to Native Americans. The owner wanted to create a team that was coached and played by Native Americans to provide them an opportunity to play football. In conclusion, the points that were stated shared valid points into why the Washington Redskins should or should not change their mascot. My first point covered the history of why the term Redskins is controversial in usage by the Washington football team. The opposition to the use of Redskins believed the term to be a racial slur and derogatory to those Native American descent. The second main point supports the Native American communities around the country. Lastly, the third main point is how racial inequality has played a role in changing of the Washington Redskins name. Paying attention to the changing of the Washington Redskins name can show the change in our society. Once was acceptable by a professional football owner trying to pay homage to Native Americans because a twisted interpretation of racism towards Native Americans, which was not the historical intent of the term. The changing of the name may not seem to be important to many people, but to some it's more than just a name. The history that has written with the name can't be changed, and the legacies that have been laid has an impact on many.